Hello, YouTube! We're about halfway through the summer 2024 anime season, and there have been some pretty interesting anime in the bunch. I thought I'd get on here and discuss them. The major update has been Kimi Ni Todoke. The new season dropped after, like a decade? And of course, I watched it. Netflix dropped 5 episodes, all over an hour. I was a little stressed out by that, and we were gonna drop hour episodes because we at least spaced them out and done once a week. But okay, I'm through them all. So, time to discuss. Season 2 ended on the coupling of Sawako and Kazuhaya. We pick up, and immediately in the first 5 minutes, we see them shine in all their couple glory. They're out on a picnic date. They are healing some of the old wounds from seasons prior, mostly season 2. The main ones were Sawako gifted Kazuhaya a hat, the hat that she was supposed to give him at Christmas, but she gave it to her dad instead. And she gave him the chocolates that she was supposed to give him for Valentine's Day. Oh, those chocolates, the Valentine's Day chocolates back in season 2, they stressed me out. That was a lot of anxiety for me. Watching season 2 of Kimi Ni Todoke was an experience. I was stressed. It was very healing to see her finally give him the chocolates. I thought I was healed at the end of season 2 when they got together, but no, that was what I needed to see. I needed to see her actually giving him the chocolates. And she did! I was so proud of Sawako. She really took in all her character growth, and I'm glad. You did it, Sawako. You did it. Sawako spends the season really showing off the growth that she's had as a character. She is faced with more problems. Some of the problems mirror problems from the past, and she's able to handle them much better this go-around after all that she's been through as a character. I was so proud of her. Sawako, you've really come far. At the end of the season, she's the one to finally break and confront Kazuhaya for their lack of communication and all their relationship problems. It was her who made that first move to get them back on track. And I think that was really important. She stood up for herself. I was happy to see it. We also see her finding balance between her new relationship with Kazuhaya, her friendships, which she's developed throughout the show, and her family. A lot of the times, these anime will just completely ditch the family once a romance happens, but no. Sawako, at the end of the season, she makes it a point to where she is going to spend New Year's with her mom and dad. I really appreciated that extra effort. It shows that Sawako, even though she's changed, she hasn't lost herself. She still cares about all the people she's always cared about. I really loved that extra touch. She's gonna put the time out for her family. She had the opportunity to go spend New Year's with her friends at the shrine. She decided against it. I really loved that. And she was able to decisively choose herself. No hurt feelings were had about it. It was communicated to everybody. You love to see it. And shout out to Sawako's parents. Her mom is just a glowing light of positivity, always so supportive, always offering new opportunities, inviting her friends over to Christmas. She's just the best. And then, of course, Sawako's father, he's a comedic gem. We had the gag of him wearing his hat some more, which gets a good laugh out of me every time. We got to see him grow to accept Kazuhaya, and he eventually, after the Christmas party, he welcomes everybody to come back to his house. This just shows that he really does trust Sawako, and it's greatly appreciated to see him. Sawako's family, just such a loving family. And it makes sense because Sawako is amazing. And of course her parents are too. You love her. Love Sawako. She's amazing. A great main character for the show to build around. Speaking of Sawako's new relationship, Kazuhaya tilted Sawako's overthinking crown, and I think he took the throne. He definitely wins the overthinking game this season. The first 2 seasons, I just took Kazuhaya as a pretty generic sweetheart. I loved it. Like, just a nice guy. You love to see that. He didn't have any of the obnoxious red flags, which you can usually find with a love interest in a romance anime. He was just a total sweetheart. But this season, we got to see some more depth to him, and we got to really find out, oh, you have a lot more in common with Sawako than we originally thought, as he's shown to do some of the same overthinking that she does. He handles himself well as their relationship first progresses in the first episode, that lovely first episode. He meets the family, he takes that well. He's able to fold Sawako into his life with his friends at school. Everything works out fine. There really should be no issue between the two of them, but self-sabotaging. The overthinking from Kazuhaya caused him to self-sabotage, to pull back from Sawako without even realizing it. He loves her so much that he just didn't think he was good enough. When Sawako shares how she feels pulled back from him, he does kiss her and shows that, yeah, I do love you. It was a great moment. It was rewarding to see them finally just confirm it. I love how the two of them comfort each other. It's really refreshing. They're a great pair in that regard. They undeniably have so much love for each other, even if they aren't the best at expressing it, but they're working on it. Let this relationship be a lesson that communication really is key. And I would say the characters learned that this season, and we see at the end of the season, as they're leaving the Christmas party, they're talking about, yeah, we might not be able to see each other during this break. So we'll be spending New Year's separately. Kazuha's going to be busy helping the family, but we will call, we will text. They get that established. So they're not going to spend the New Year worrying like, oh my gosh, what if he doesn't love me anymore? Blah, blah, blah. They got that established. They're good. Really appreciated that. Great way to end the season. Yes. They're definitely one of the top anime couples, and this season only further cemented that, I would say. They already were before, set in stone now. Concrete, lock it in, throw the key away. That's not where the season ends though. One of the key players in this season was Aion. Despite having boyfriends before, we got to learn that Aion has never been in love before. She's never experienced love. We get a glimpse into Aion's dating life when Mogi randomly asks her out of the blue, and she randomly accepts. They're together the whole trip, and we see them even kiss, but there's clearly no connection there. They break up, and Aion just seems totally unfazed by it. So she just had no interest in that relationship at all, it seemed. But then Kenzo finds her, and she opens up to Kenzo. Oh, a guy and a girl, they're gonna get coupled up, clearly. I side-eyed it, just putting the two random supporting characters with nothing better to do together, tale as old as time. But they did win me over, and I thought they did good stuff with it, even though overused cliche, they made it work. Kento beat up Mogi after being made aware of what actually went down during their breakup, and Aion chased after him after that, and she was finally able to receive what Kento was putting out there, and they got together. It was a very lovely moment. I was pulling for them. I was happy to see Aion finally accept the love that was being sent her way. The thing with Aion is she's the supportive friend who always rallies for everybody else, but the thing about that friend is they're usually the one having the hardest time beneath the surface. And that rings true with Aion, because she was really struggling with love. She had basically given up on love for herself because she didn't think she deserved it. In Aion's time of need, we got to see the roles reversed, whereas Aion was helping Sawako with Kazuhaya before. Sawako and Chizu really rallied around Aion. Well, not so much Chizu, because she wasn't made aware, but Sawako really rallied around Aion in her time of need and was there for her. It was a nice change to see that dynamic shift up, and it is an equal friendship. They have a really lovely friendship, the three of the girls. Speaking of the last girl, Chizu, we got to explore more of her relationship with Ryo this season. I will say in the first two seasons, I could not care less about Chizu and Ryo. I was just like bland, basic, vanilla, friends to lovers, side characters, like get off my screen, I don't care. I always liked Chizu as her own character, but that relationship, I could not be more bored. But that all changed this season when we got the backstory of Chizu and Ryo. What a tragic backstory it was. We see Chizu and Ryu with Ryu's mom, who we know passes eventually, but she's giving them onigiri. They're calling it the best. All three of them got along quite well. But then, of course, she does inevitably pass. It was very, very sad. And we see Chizu, she goes out of her way to make onigiri, and she leaves it in front of Ryu's house every night. He eventually catches her, but it was just so sweet of her. And we just learned that Chizu, she doesn't want to lose what she has with Ryu. I completely sympathize with her because you have such a good friendship. Why would you want to ruin that, risk ruining that by pursuing more? But sometimes you just gotta risk it and go for more. You risk losing it, but you also risk gaining so much more. I also love how all three of the girls' relationship drama, they all played back into each other. A lot of romance anime, I've seen them, when the main couple gets together, they shift all focus to the side couples. It's obnoxious every time, but they definitely kept Sawako in the mix, and I would say she was still kept as the center focus, as the one connecting everything together, and she had her own stuff going on too. But Aion and Chizu, they also had their own stuff going on too. Now that they had Sawako and Kazuhaya coupled up, they were able to spread the focus a little bit more and make it more of an even ensemble. But Sawako was never lost in the shuffle. She was still clearly the main character. I love it. I appreciate it. They definitely did a good job. And I would say they did much better than most romance anime out there about equal character balance. Shade, no shade, take it how you want. I'm not naming names. But expanding the ensemble like that, it really just allowed Kimi Ni Todoke to use all elements of the world it established. And propping up Aion and Chisu enhanced what Sawako had going on, and their friendship was a great core connecting point through the series. My one question is, where is Kurumi? Kurumi was MIA this whole season. Now, I know she got like a spin-off manga or whatever. Adapt it, please. Kurumi's my favorite character. I want to see it. Thank you. But she made like 1-2 appearances in this season. I was very upset about it because let me just tell you, while I love Sawako and Kazuhaya, I also loved Sawako and Kurumi, and I wanted to see them. I know they weren't going to get together. Please, I'm not stupid. I know that was never going to happen, but I at least wanted to see more of their friendship dynamic. Just give me the crumbs, give me something. I was still going to ship it, but I wanted the crumbs, but no, she's just not here. Very upsetting. But yes, Kimi Ni Todoke, I was very happy with this season. I want more. Now on to another heavy hitter. We have the long-awaited return of Fairy Tail with Fairy Tail 100 Years Quest. Fairy Tail is the one battle shonen anime that I really enjoy. I really ride for. I don't know why, but something about Fairy Tail just clicked with me. So far, the sequel's been scratching my Fairy Tail itch, and I've been very pleased with what I've been seeing. Of course, we have the core characters, Natsu, Lucy, Urza, Gray, but we also have the side characters. They're still in the fold, like the leftover people at the guild, like Juvia, Mira Jane. They have their own storyline. They were on a side quest of sorts through the first few episodes that eventually did take center stage in a major way. So I like how they've kept those characters in the mix. I was worried that we might forget about them in a sequel, but no, they're still around. And even beyond that, we're getting characters like Brandis showing up to tell Lucy about the Aquarius Key. We've gotten to see a lot of characters from Fairy Tail's past. I'm glad all that world building is not going to waste with this new sequel series. But the core cast has gone underwater to seek out the water dragon. This new underwater world has been exciting to explore, and we even get to learn its origins. What an expansive world. I mean, I love the underwater stuff, so I'm here for this theme in particular. The new villains are the Dragon Eaters. They're quite fearsome, especially Kiria, who has had some epic fight scenes. Gosh, they're really freaky though. They are, but that's what makes them good villains. Just as you'd expect, they're going around eating dragons. to get the powers of the dragons. We do ultimately get the appearance of the water dragon, and the water dragon is a cute guy who tells them that kill me. Like, just kill me. I'm like, oh, you want to die? Die! Die! And although he's the water god, he appears to be much nicer than you'd expect from somebody who was set up to be so fearsome. He reveals that his powers have caused the village to go underwater, causing the people to transform between people and fish. There's that explanation from the immediate setup when we first arrived there. It's also revealed that his powers have been stolen by the White Mage. Ooh. And the White Mage is revealed to be a character we met in the first episode, Toka, who we had the leftover people still at Fairy Tale dealing with Toka. She came to join the guild, first episode. She had an obsession with Natsu. It was interesting to see that paralleled with Juvia's obsession with Gray. Like, Juvia had a little competition. It was funny. But we have Jalal going around hunting Toka down. We're like, what's your deal? But when we see Toka, she's just this cute, innocent girl. It's revealed the White Mage has taken over Toka, and it's like a double personality type deal. But the White Mage is shown to be really scary, and Toka is fighting her back, though. Toka's not going down without a fight. I think when the White Mage is defeated, we'll get to keep Toka, which I do like that. At the end of the last episode, we saw the White Mage take down everybody in Fairy Tale besides the core cast, and we're like, of course they're not gonna stay dead. But, oh my gosh, how'd she pull that off? How's this gonna be solved? All this setup of the Dragon Eaters, the Water God, and the White Mage, it's all coming to a head, and it's all centering around our core cast, and I can't wait to see how this unfolds.
Wow.
I've checked out a few of the seasonals, but only 3 I've watched more than one episode of. And I don't intend to go back for any of the others, quite frankly. Sorry, not sorry. I'll start with Narenare Cheer For You. It's a cheerleading anime. It has gorgeous animation. It's very colorful, and I love how they've incorporated the colors. Each of the characters, they have a distinct color in their design. Like our main girl, she has orange on the inside of her hair, but it's brown on the outside. I love those details. The detail work in this anime's animation, lovely. So when I was signing up for a cheerleading anime, I thought it was gonna be peppy, fun, but it's more of a chill vibe, I would say. It's a bit forgettable, maybe a bit boring at times, but I'm caught up on it, so something's working for it. That something would be the cast. And it is a dry anime season, summer usually is, but the cast has kept me around. I find everybody on the cast to be somewhat intriguing. The standout is definitely Anna. She adds the pep and the cheerfulness that I was expecting from a cheerleading anime. And she's lovely. What a breakout character, truly. Anna steals every scene she's in. She breathes life into the show when she's on screen. Love Anna. I want to see what else her character gets up to. Next is Dungeon People. Of course, it's about a dungeon, fighting in a dungeon. I was drawn to this anime in the first place. I usually don't check out all the isekai stuff, but the main character was a girl, and we're first introduced to Clay. She's training with her father. We find out that her father died in the dungeon. And we see her get hardened, and she's then training to take down the dungeon. We see her get to the second to last level, where she meets Belle, this young, naive girl who seems a bit airy, a bit ditzy, doesn't really know what's going on, but she still keeps moving forward. But Belle, she works for the dungeon. She's giving Clay a tour of the behind the scenes, and Belle offers Clay a job. They go down to the last level to fight the boss, and the boss is Belle. Clay tries to fight her, but Belle's too powerful. It's like, oh, you wouldn't expect that from Belle, because she just seems like a little naive girl. Nope, Belle has her strengths. Interesting. Then the rest of the anime, it just becomes about the behind the scenes of what goes into running a dungeon. It's also a chill vibe. There are some cool action moments. It's got some funny moments too, but it's chill, a bit predictable, a bit boring. It's doesn't stick in the mind. I could probably forget it when the season's done, but I'm still watching. I'm having fun with it. Good enough for a slow summer season. Okay.
Okay.
I do wonder, is Clay's dad going to appear and that's why his death was never confirmed? That's the one thing hanging over that could add a bit of intrigue to the back half. We'll see. Next is My Dear Friend Nokotan. For starters, the opening song is a hit. Absolutely. This is definitely the comedic anime of the season. It pulls a bunch of references from pop culture and all of that. That's a nice touch. Toriko, the main character, she's a former delinquent, but she's better now. The delinquent thing is just kind of a joke at this point because she's like the top student or whatever. But she meets Shikanoko. Shikanoko is a deer girl with the antlers to accompany. Of course, they end up befriending each other. Toriko gets roped into running the deer club at the school that Shikanoko started up. Poor Toriko, she's getting dragged along to the hijinks of this random deer girl. It's funny though. Currently, the show's just expanding the cast, introducing more characters to fill out the deer club. It's fine. We still got the core main two characters. It's been fun and wacky, and I think the new additions could be fun. Nothing really to write home about, but I'm having a good time with it. I was won over with this anime in episode 4 when Shikanoko sang a song about her love for deer crackers, and it was one of the funniest anime scenes I've seen in a hot minute. Okay, I was cracking up because she was dead serious singing about her love of these deer crackers. Next, I'll give an update on Wonderful Precure, which I'm still watching. It's stayed pretty consistent since my last update. We did get the debut of Cure Lillian, and it was awesome. She got incorporated into the group well. Her dynamic with Hironami, their dynamic has evened out as Hironami, she goes out of her way to try to protect Lillian, and Cure Lillian, in more low-key ways, protects Hironami back. It's very much captures the dynamic between pets. How the pet always wants to feel like they're protecting the owner, but of course the owner is just doing more because they have more power in the situation. But it works. It works well. If you're a pet owner, you get the dynamic. It's great. Hironami has totally stolen the show. I'm enjoying it. We see her join school when Cure Lillian debuts. She finally joins the Cure group instead of being off on her own, and she settles into that group well. We see her bickering with Iroha. They got the classic cat and dog dynamic where the dog really annoys the cat. With how dynamic the new Cures have been, Cure Friendy has gotten the most lost in the shuffle. She's lacking any development or really any significance in the story right now, and it's sad to see. She's got no personal struggles or anything besides her blossoming romance with Satoru, who I do enjoy Satoru, but the romance being the only thing a main Cure has going for her, romance with a guy who's not a Cure, or I wouldn't want any main character girl to have her defining trait or only sticking point to be her relationship with a side character guy. That's just, no, I don't like that at all. I don't like the dynamic that presents a guy defines a girl. I don't like that at all. Could we put more focus on her relationship with Cure Wonderful? Could we give them something else to do? Something, please give her something. Give her some personal struggle. I don't know, come up with something else.
Can you come up with something else? Can you come up with something else?
And the romance is as generic as a cardboard box. This is nothing we haven't seen before. It's not some exciting new romance that we need to tell. I guess if Satoru became a cure. It would be interesting to see two cures have a relationship. But even then, it's like, you've had girl cures for years. You could have explored it then. Why would you do it with a guy cure? So I'm not rooting for Satoru to become a cure just because I don't like how the cure friendly development is going as is. So don't add that extra bit of controversy into the mix. That's how I feel. But I do enjoy Satoru. I really am enjoying Satoru as a side character. I don't need him to become a cure though. Mei Mei has continued to be a hilarious addition to the cast. That episode where he shaved himself in the heat, oh my gosh, it was awful. It was so funny, but it was awful. He's currently being overwhelmed by the situation with the random egg that appeared. Of course, it's gonna be some magical sidekick or whatever. But the big question right now is what's going to end up hatching. We've been dealing with egg hijinks the last few episodes. It's been pretty funny. The egg just pops up out of nowhere. It's gone here and there. It's entertaining, to say the least. But if it goes on for more than 2 episodes, I'm going to be sick and tired of the egg hijinks. I'm not too worried about that, though. I feel like they'll wrap it up at an appropriate pace. I don't think it's going to drag on too long. But yes, wonderful Precure. I'm having a good time. I do have some issues. I'm worried about what's going to happen. I think they're good with these 4 girls, but we have some work to be done here. I need some improvements for the 4 girls as is. Don't add any other complications, please. This egg will be enough to spice up the rest of the season, I think. I didn't do a wrap-up video on spring 2024, so I will leave some thoughts on some of those here, just so I can give my final updates. I didn't make the video because I feel there wasn't much to say, quite frankly. I was very underwhelmed by pretty much all those animes. I dropped My Hero Academia, not because it was bad. Honestly, I feel like they were having a pretty good season. I just realized I wasn't interested anymore. My heart wasn't in it, so I don't care to watch this episode, so I'm not going to watch it. Maybe I'll go back to it one day and go rewatch it, binge it. But right now, I'm just not feeling it right now. That's okay. I don't have anything bad to say about it, though. Just, it's not what I signed up for, I don't think. So, what it is, it's good. But not for me. Right now. Maybe later. I was really looking forward to the Demon Slayer season finale last season, but then that same day, right before I was about to click into the finale, I see the announcement of 3 movies that will conclude Demon Slayer. I immediately lost interest and I've still not watched the season finale. If I sign up to see a show, I expect the show to be where things wrap up instead of a cash grab movie, let alone 3 movies. That's just ridiculous. You can pull it off in a TV show. I just don't like how everybody's acting like TV shows are so much worse. That seemed to be a more common thing lately, how TV shows are like lesser. Like, no, you've had all your success on a TV show up to this point. So finish it in a TV show. Oh, it just gets on my last nerves. And I don't think 3 movies is enough time to adapt all that manga properly. I don't need to see how this plays out. I've dropped stuff before because they've announced it's ending in movies or they're extending it for 5 parts. Like Attack on Titan, they extended the final season out for 3 parts and then ended it in movies. I did not finish it. I want to see TV shows when I sign up for TV shows. I need to be in the mood for a movie. Not in the mood for a movie. It's so clearly a cash grab too. No, I'm not doing that.
Learn something from this!
Train to the End of the World proved it was absolutely the anime of the season. Contender for anime of the year. It wrapped up flawlessly. Perfect anime. 10 out of 10. The train reached its final location. We had an epic meeting of the 4 girls with their other girl who we've been teasing throughout, who she became a bit of a villainous figure, but she was being controlled by other villains. We got to see all the girls make amends, get back together, and save the world together. They weren't able to take everything back to how it was before. The world is still changed, So I like that we still have consequences from the journey that was taken, but there is resolve and things have improved and all the relationships are healed. I loved it. What a phenomenal series. I would recommend it to anybody. The other anime I've not mentioned yet that I talked about in that last video, I either dropped them or nothing noteworthy was in the rest of their episodes for me to feel the need to even mention them. Forgettable at best. But Train to the End of the World, fantastic. Can't say enough nice things about it. It will be in the conversation for me for Anime of the Year. It's one of the best anime I've seen in a hot minute. But that wraps up this video for me. I will be back to talk about more anime, of course. Got a few Precure video ideas I'm throwing around in particular. Stay tuned for that. Until next time, bye.